struggle for space at Christmas time, either to display a pretty Christmas tree, or maybe you want to add a bit of a festive touch to a space with not much floor space, well then I might have the answer for you today. I have a big blank wall that I'm going to create a Christmas tree on. You can use this with any pretty tinsel, but I have some tinsel that looks almost like a Christmas tree already, or a garland, and it's got baubles too. So by doing this flat Christmas tree on this wall, it will give the feel of a Christmas tree without using the floor space, which is really important for all of us with smaller houses. Okay, let's create a really fun little Christmas tree scene on this wall. This is the space that I've got to work with. This is a great idea maybe if you have a dorm room and you want to put something on the wall, or maybe you want to add a little festive touch to your children's room but don't want to buy an extra tree for the space. The first thing you want to do is map out your design. I wasn't sure how much I would need or how high I wanted the trees to go. I had 5 strands of this 2-metre tinsel. These strands of tinsel were only £2.99 each, so really affordable, especially because they're already a bit more ornate than your classic tinsel. So what I'm doing, I've got some adjustable command hooks, which are really good as you can move them around a few times within 20 minutes, which is really helpful because I suspect we're going to need a bit of adjustment with these trees. I cut myself off there to save you from listening to my waffling, but essentially I also attached the command hooks and tinsel together with string. Once you've got a design mapped out on the floor that you're happy with, now it is time to attach it to the wall. So you don't want to add the command hooks just yet, because whilst these are readjustable, you don't want to put them in the wrong place. The next step is to map it out on the wall and use frog tape to keep it in place. Frog tape is a great choice because it is low tack, which means that it won't pull the paint off when it comes down. Because of course if you attach it all, get to the top of the tree, and then you're not happy with something in the middle, it affects all of the tinsel and has to all be rearranged. It's strong enough to stay attached and hold the tree up just for a short while before you put the command hooks in to keep it in place there. While you're up close to the tree, it can be quite hard to see if it is the shape that you like. You might like your branches to be completely straight or more of a bendy, organic look. But when you're next to the wall, it's quite hard to see if you're creating the exact shape that you like. So it's also helpful to have the frog tape so you can stand back and see if it's where you're happy with it before carrying on. If you're adding fairy lights like I am, then you need to think about your placement in relation to your plug sockets if you're going to be plugging them in. If you're going to be using battery lights, then this isn't so important because you can hide the battery pack behind the tinsel. Once you have the shape that you're happy with, it's time to attach the command hooks. Now I have these adjustable command hooks, which are really great. It means you can move them for up to 20 minutes and they'll still be as strong as ever, even if you adjust them a few times. Then, if you're paying attention to the packaging, you should leave it for about an hour before you apply anything to the command hooks. I'll be honest, I do not follow this rule. I get too impatient. And with something as light as tinsel, I also felt like it probably wouldn't matter. I had some green string, which blended in really well with the actual tinsel. These command hooks were actually really tiny, which is fine because I wasn't actually trying to attach the tinsel itself to it. I was going to add some string as well. Firstly, I tied some string around the hook, and then I tied it again around the tinsel and pulled it tight so that the tinsel was then pulled tight to the wall. I also took the frog tape off the section I was attaching before I used the string to connect it to the command hook because I didn't want to be tugging at the tinsel to get the frog tape off once it was attached. Onto attaching the fairy lights, my favourite bit, the bit that takes this from cute Christmas tree to such a cosy Christmas feeling. I started with the furthest tree because I needed the end of the lights to be able to reach to that, and then I knew how much length of lights I had to fill in the other two. It's fine to go up and down a few times and fill in the extra space, but what you don't want is not enough light, and then you end up with the end of the tree without anything. It's also helpful to turn the lights on to make sure that they're about evenly distributed and there isn't anywhere that is missing, or maybe the lights are hidden behind other things and you want to pull them forwards. The dream is to have as much of the cable hidden amongst the tinsel as possible with the lights showing. That might be a bit of a balance though, depending on the shape of the tinsel and the space you have to play with. I had these long string lights which were long enough to be able to go across all of the Christmas trees. The important part was to make sure that the plug would reach the socket. And you want to be able to disguise the cable as much as possible, which means connecting the lights between the trees at the bottom, which is where they are closest together. Unless your trees are overlapping, you won't be able to disguise the cable completely, but if you connect it at the smallest points, which is in this case at the bottom, then it will be as least visible as possible. There are two things you need to bear in mind. You need to make sure that the plug can reach to the socket, and also that the end of the lights can reach to the furthest part of the last tree. Again, I just placed them roughly with frog tape to make sure I had roughly the right shape and to see how much space I had left to fill. And finally, I got some bargain baubles. This set was £1.50 from a charity shop and the perfect size. You don't want large, oversized baubles on a tree like this because as the tinsel is flat against the wall, the baubles won't be able to hang nicely. So smaller baubles suit it much better. I simply attached them with some ornament hooks and that worked perfectly because they're so light they weren't going to cause any problems on dragging the tinsel down. Just how adorable are these 3 Christmas trees for the wall? To be honest, I could probably put fairy lights on anything and I would love it, but I definitely love these trees too. I have a fire, so I used some of the logs at the bottom just to give it that Christmas tree look, but you wouldn't need to do this if you didn't want to. And it also helped disguise some of the cables at the bottom of the Christmas lights. I couldn't decide how I liked it best, so I'm just showing you all the various ways that I played around with it. You could even add a stack of presents to the bottom to act like the stump of the tree, or leave it as is for a more minimal look. There's a lot of choices, it's a lot of fun, and other than detangling lights, it was a really simple process too. I hope you enjoyed this little look at how to make a wall Christmas tree. If you make it for yourself, please send me photos, I would love to see that. Until next time, happy Christmas, thanks so much for watching, bye!